It is Wednesday, January 14th, 2026, and you are listening to Blue Lightning Daily, the podcast that is fully produced by AI, which means if today's episode accidentally generates a third host mid-sentence, no, it didn't. I'm Hunter.
And I'm Riley. And honestly, if the AI adds a third host, I hope it's someone who can finally explain why my AI videos keep giving people, haunted gelato hands.
The cursed fingers are evergreen. But today's big story is actually a refreshingly non-chaotic upgrade. Google's Veo 3.1 just dropped, and the headline is Native Vertical Video, Real Actual 9:16 Generation.
Thank you. Finally. AI video has been treating vertical like it's an optional side quest. Meanwhile, the entire internet lives in shorts, reels, and TikTok. Vertical isn't a format, it's the rent.
Exactly. And this update is very less demo, more deliverable. Vertical plus better consistency, better prompt adherence, upscaling options, and some genuinely useful controls like using reference images and first and last frame control.
Okay, wait. I want to camp on the vertical thing for a sec, because people are going to be like, so what, just crop it. And no. Cropping is pain. Cropping is losing your subject to the UI buttons. Cropping is your product sliding out of frame like it owes money.
Yup. When you generate vertical from the start, composition is decided at birth, not during damage control in post. Faces stay where they should, text overlays don't get guillotined, and for ads, the thing you're selling stays in the shot, which is kind of the whole job.
Also, for teams doing volume, cropping is death by 1,000 tiny edits. Like if you're testing different hooks, different captions, different CTAs, different placements, the quick crop becomes a full-time position.
That's the quiet win. People underestimate how a single conversion step can wreck an automation pipeline. Every extra step is another place for inconsistencies to creep in, another review cycle, another why does this look weird Slack thread.
Speaking of why does this look weird, Google's talking about better temporal consistency, right? The whole model forgetting what it drew problem?
That's what they're positioning, yeah. More stability across frames and scenes, especially when you guide it with reference images. For creators, that means fewer unusable takes and less of that surreal mid-clip identity drift where your character turns into their own cousin.
Oh my God, the cousin swap. You're like, here's our spokesperson, and by the end, they're an entirely new person with different eyebrows and a different aura.
And if you're building a series, consistency is everything. Your audience forgives a lot, but they do not forgive new main character every episode.
Okay, so let's talk about the controls, because this is where it stops feeling like slot machine content and starts feeling like art direction. Ingredients to video lets you use up to 3 reference images, right?
That's the idea. You bring reference images for identity, vibe, maybe a product shot, maybe wardrobe, and the model behaves more like it has a mood board, not just a prompt.
But is it real art direction, or is it just a more expensive slot machine with better manners?
It's somewhere in the middle, if we're being honest. Reference images can absolutely anchor identity and style, but you still need a human eyeballing the outputs. It's not set it and forget it. It's more like set it and supervise it.
That's actually the creator's sweet spot, though. Give me something that gets me 80% there fast, and I'll do the human polish. I don't need perfect. I need shippable.
Which is why I love the first and last frame control edition. This is a very editor-brained feature.
Explain that like I'm a chaotic marketing manager who thinks every AI tool is secretly a Super Bowl commercial generator.
Okay. First and last frame control is basically, you give Veo an image for how you want the shot to start and an image for how you want it to end, and it generates the motion between them. The practical value is cuts. You can end on a clean product hold, you can land on a logo moment, you can match an ending pose to the next shot so editing doesn't feel like wrestling a greased pig.
That's huge. Because AI video always does this thing where the ending is it just dissolves into vibes, like the model gets sleepy and starts melting.
Exactly. Endings matter because editors cut on intention. If the end frame is mush, you can't cut cleanly. This feature is boring in the best way.
I love boring features. Boring features pay my bills.
Another practical piece. Resolution. Google's saying Veo 3.1 can generate at 720 and then upscale to 1080 or even 4K depending on workflow and product surface.
So not we magically generate perfect 4K, but we give you something usable and then we help it hold up in real edits.
Right. Because creators are going to crop, stabilize, add text, do color, maybe punch in. If your base footage is fragile, your whole timeline is fragile.
Okay, quick ecosystem check though, because the last week has been spicy. Like Adobe's been going full model buffet.
Yeah. Firefly adding OpenAI's image model as a partner option and also adding Black Forest Labs FLux inside Firefly and Firefly boards. The theme is basically stop making creators jump between tools. Keep it inside the workflow, inside the approvals, inside the brand-safe guardrails.
That's the same vibe as Veo being available through the Gemini API and Vertex, right? Like, it's not just come play with the model, it's we want this inside your production machine.
Exactly. And it mirrors what we talked about with Lightrix LTX2 going open weight and aiming at local workflows, especially with audio and video together. Different approach, same signal. People want predictable output they can actually integrate.
And they want control. They want the knobs. Which is funny because the same week we're getting more control, there's also that report about OpenAI wanting real workplace files paired with the original request. Which is like, okay, cool for realism, but hello, privacy panic.
Yeah, that's a big deal. The industry is shifting from web text intelligence to deliverable intelligence, like can the model produce the actual files teams ship? But it raises the bar on data governance. If your company is feeding real documents, you better know what's going where.
Creators too, honestly. People are out here uploading client decks like teach the model our brand, and I'm like, bestie, that's a whole contract.
Totally. Back to Veo. Another thing creators will run into is watermarking and provenance, Google's continuing SynthID watermarking for AI video.
Okay, so is that labeling content for trust, or is it branding AI-made work like digital cattle while bad actors just edit around it?
Both can be true. Provenance is important, especially for legit brands and agencies who don't want to get accused of sneaking AI into ads without disclosure. But yeah, watermarks are not a magical anti-misuse shield. It's more like seatbelts. Useful, not invincible.
Also, platforms are going to care. Because once AI video is easy through an API, it stops being a creative tool and starts being a content fire hose.
That's the real trend. If you can generate programmatically at scale, the question becomes, can it stay consistent? Can it stay on brand? Can it survive approvals? And can the internet survive the volume?
So, who is Veo 3.1 for? Like, is this for solo creators or is it more for teams?
Both, but in different ways. Solo creators benefit from native vertical and fewer retakes, but the API and Vertex access screams content ops. If you're a marketing team doing lots of variants, lots of placements, lots of iterations, this starts to matter a lot.
I'm thinking like agencies running performance creative. If you can generate vertical variants that actually keep the product in frame and keep the branding consistent, that's less time in the fix the weird AI stuff stage.
The boring but deadly failure point teams underestimate is still review cycles. Even with better generations, someone needs to approve, but the consistency upgrades and reference guidance reduce the amount of review whiplash.
And hopefully reduces the why is his hand doing that budget, because I swear, every AI video workflow needs a line item called unholy anatomy.
The next tell after hands, by the way, I think it's physics and microcausality. Like objects don't quite obey weight, fabric doesn't behave, and motion feels like it's been politely suggested rather than actually simulated.
Yes, and eye focus. AI characters sometimes stare like they're reading invisible teleprompters written by ghosts.
So where does that leave creators right now? The practical takeaway is, if you're making vertical content for social, this is a real workflow unlock. Generate in the format you actually publish in. Use reference images if you need identity consistency. Use first and last frame control to make edits cleaner. And don't assume it's magic, assume it's a collaborator that needs supervision.
And if you're a team, the bigger takeaway is, the moment you can do this through an API, your creative system matters. Naming, versioning, approval loops, prompt libraries, brand references. Otherwise, you're just generating chaos faster.
We love speed, but we love shippable more.
Shippable is hot.
All right, that's the episode. Thanks for hanging with us on Blue Lightning Daily, the show assembled by a swarm of polite automation that may or may not be plotting to generate my replacement.
If your replacement is vertical first and has better temporal consistency, I'm happy for you. Kinda.
Go check out bluelightningtv.com for AI news and updates, and make sure you subscribe. Catch you next time.
Bye, and may your end frames be crisp and your fingers remain biologically plausible.